Hey, everybody. I'm Tonya Eberhart. I'm the founder of BrandFace, and we help business owners, entrepreneurs, and real estate agents differentiate themselves. And we do that through personal branding.
Hey, folks, good afternoon. Glad to be here. My name is Michael Carr. I'm the COO of BrandFace. I was a client before I became a partner in the business, and we are the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe. So thank you so much for joining us on our 2 o'clock Facebook Live here. We got a good topic for you here today. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, so back in December, we actually had an opportunity of a lifetime. We went to Israel. And
thus far.
Yes, thus far. The opportunity, the trip of a lifetime thus far, as we say, because the next trip's always going to be more awesome, right? So we went to Israel, and it was a personal trip. We went seeking. We went to just see what life was about there. We had an amazing tour guide, an amazing host that set up the trip up, and then an actual tour guide on the ground there who was a former Israeli soldier, actually, and knows that area backward and forward. And it was just an incredible trip. And as we do, it's impossible for us to go anywhere and not find something that relates to branding.
Absolutely.
We did it on the Bourbon Trail. We've done it everywhere.
We've done it on fishing trips.
Yeah, exactly.
We find branding everywhere.
Branding is infused everywhere. So we actually there were 4 things that really impacted us, and 4 things that we learned that we feel were just life lessons that can also help you with your brand and direction. So we're just going to pound through them here today, and hopefully you guys will get as much out of it as we did.
Absolutely. All right, so number 1, we figured out that sales should never be from a point of desperation. Okay, so let me set the scene for you right here. And many of you, no doubt, that are going to watch this or have traveled to places where you go to open air markets, right? Every country has them, every town has them, every city has them, right? And so that's part of what you do. And we're in Israel, so we go to the old city. And we go into the different quadrants, and we're doing our shopping, right? And so we're going through the old part of the bazaar there, and you know how people do. They're coming, oh, come in and see my shop, come in and see my shop, come in and see my shop. And this young man runs out. I say young, he was younger than us, but he was old enough to know better. And so he pulls us in to his shop. He had a nice shop. He did. It wasn't anything that was really overly distinctive about the shop, but he had some nice stuff in it, and he had some fairly inexpensive stuff all the way to very expensive stuff. He takes us immediately by the hand. He's very complimentary. It's Tonya, it's me, my mom is there. So, he's complimentary with us. He starts pulling out his jewelry, and he's telling us the story about how he makes this jewelry, and it's his jewelry, and it's his design. We're seeing some things we like. Tonya sees one that she likes, but it's a like, oh, you got some nice stuff. I didn't intend on spending any money, and I don't think she did either. But while we're sitting there, this nice lady comes up. She happens to be of a Latino descent of some kind. She speaks Spanish to the guy. He spoke to her in Spanish, remember? Right. Which I thought was cool. And, so now he's speaking English with us. He's speaking Spanish for her. I thought, okay, everything's still pretty cool. He's a little pushy, but that's all right. And, but the lady asked how much it was, and he snapped at her, like super rude, 20, and she went, for this or whatever. And he's like, yeah, 20. So she walks off. She's with her friend. So he goes back to us, and he suddenly turns super nice. He's talking to Tonya. He's flirting with Tonya. He's talking to me. He's like, and then, it's all about his ring and stuff. He wants to sell this, and the lady comes back with another, like a menorah, a smaller one. How much is this? 20. He yells at her again. And I'm starting to look at him like, and so she goes, like, eventually, it goes on like 3 times. She finally goes, is everything in here 20? Is everything in here cost 20? And he's sort of like super rude to her, was he not? Well, in the meantime, we're like, okay, this ain't working out. Like the spirit in this place is getting worse by the second, And so there's a little bit of chaos. Tonya walks away. Mom walks away. I can't get away from the guy. I'm still trying to be nice to him. So finally, I said, look, dude, you got some nice stuff, but we're not going to buy it. He literally grabs me by the hand and drags me back up to the little counter like that. And I went, look, you got some nice, and he yells at me and goes, give me a chance. like that. And I'm like, and I'm jumping back a little. I'm like, what am I going to do right here? And I finally said, he goes, give me a price. You give me a price that you'll give. I don't care what it is. And I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. And I probably ended up rude at this point. I didn't mean it. But I'm like, I wouldn't give you $10 for it. Well, when I did, oh, Lord. And then he cursed under his breath, and he chased down the ladies that had left that
he was
were
rude
mad
to before.
Because he was so rude to them, right? And so then I sort of chuckled because like I'm in the twilight zone here for a second. And then he starts yelling at me about, are you laughing at me? And it finally got to the point I had to confront him. And I walked back into his shop and said, let me be clear with you. I've never made fun of you. I didn't make fun of your wares. I didn't make fun of you. We're not interested. That is not the way to go about this. And then out the door we go. And of course, me and Tonya instantly like, okay, this is a lesson. There's a lesson here.
There's a lesson here.
And how not to sell, folks. You can't sell from a point of desperation. You can't do that. That's if you're in a position of desperation, you need to think about doing something else because it's impossible. People pick up on your vibes. And nobody wants to buy under duress and pressure. They want to buy a product that they are convinced is worth what they're going after and what they're looking for, and that you're the person that can provide that for them. So that was our lesson learned on number one.
And that would seem very obvious, but where the brand comes into that is if your brand and your story is out there and people are feeling that, your customers will come to you. You don't have to beg.
Right.
They're going to come to you because that brand is out there that's designed to attract them in the first place. Mm-hmm. So the second thing we learned in Israel that we feel would help you with your brand is a statement. I'll set this up first. We're in the old city of Jerusalem has 4 different quarters, and we're in the Jewish quarter. And we happened to be in a gentleman's shop. It was a Jewish shop, mostly had all sorts of religious items in there. And we went in there because he was a very good friend of the host that set our trip up. And we all sat down and listened to him give a little speech. And it was honestly one of the most moving parts of the entire trip. He was fantastic. And he just taught us lots of things that I deem to be life lessons. And one of the first things he said to us when we sat down was, if you think you made a decision to come to this country, you didn't. You were led here. You were led here. And it just struck us right away because we knew what that meant. You know, we knew that all things in life aren't just because you make a decision and you do it. There's a greater universe at work here, right? And the way we look at that, let's take a BrandFace spin on that. And we said to our agents a few weeks ago when we are doing our live group webinar for them, we said to them, you know, if you came into this program thinking you made the decision to come into this program, you didn't. It chose you. Mm-hmm. It chose you. And that's how strongly we feel about it because we're here, we have a concept, we make we're very transparent about what we do, why we do it. And if people are attracted to that, those are our people, right? Mm-hmm. And so they are, in effect, the program is choosing them and they are choosing the program. And so it works both ways, but it's designed really to bring out your inner star. That's the reason they're here, is everybody has a star inside, and our program helps to bring out that inner star so that you can showcase that and the right people will come to you in business. Mm-hmm. So that one was that one was very powerful to us. If you think you made a decision to come to this program, you didn't. This program chose you.
And we get confirmation of that all the time, folks, from people that join the program. They say, you know what, I knew I needed this, but I didn't know how to get it together. We hear that all the time. Like, oh, I had most of it. I was that way as a client when I first started off. I had a lot of the elements that I needed to build a brand. I didn't call it a brand. I didn't understand what a brand was until Tonya came into my life, and then she showed me what that was. I did have some of the things that constitute a brand. I did not have a brand. And we see that all the time with people. So we really thought that was poignant, that, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, type of a thing. And we see that all the time with clients that come into our program and launch their brand. So it was a good lesson there. Moshe was that man's name. He was a superb guy. All right, number 3, you don't want to forsake the blessings of today for the hope of tomorrow. This is very, very, very big, right? In fact, I was actually doing some thinking about it and studying this morning about how the journey is in and of itself the reward, right? And a guy that I do a lot of learning from, Dr. Chad Foster, he said the journey is the reward. There is no reward without the journey, and there is no journey without the reward. But if you go directly for the reward, then you're going to miss the journey. And if you and in the same way, if you focus all on the journey, you're not going to get to the reward. That's why we teach to have goals, and why you should have goals that you shoot for. But if that goal is all you see, then you don't treat your customers with authenticity, and that means that you might get that customer. You're not going to get any more from them. Authenticity is what brings you loyal and satisfied customers, which is exactly what you want. And so Tonya and I were talking about that after that, and I said, so many times, especially in our business, in the real estate business, which is a very slow turning business sometimes. Other businesses that we work with are quick returns, small rewards that build up big. Real estate is more like, okay, we got to get our work going, and then 3 months later, we're going to be able to get a paycheck. So wherever your business is and wherever that fits in there, don't fall victim to living, but going from A to Z. Because life is going to happen between B and Y, and all of your clients are going to be somewhere between B and Y, and you need to be living inside of B and Y. And to just further reiterate that point, we just had one of our webinars, and we had one of our clients on there that was talking about the exact same thing. And sometimes things happen faster than we think they would, and we get a goal faster than we should. And sometimes those goals take longer, but we don't give up on either one. But I just encourage you guys to not forsake the blessings of today for the hope of tomorrow. If you're living with authenticity and pride in what you do today, then the hope of tomorrow is guaranteed.
Exactly. And number 4 thing that we learned in Israel that can help you with your brand and direction is that people from all over the world, no matter where you go, have one thing in common. They connect with other people with the same thoughts, dreams, and goals. And it's just demonstrated time and time again. Even for us, as we were going through Israel, we would go into some shops, and inside some of these shops, there would be such a meeting of the minds. You'd think, this is like the vibe in here is so cool. And the person who runs the shop is telling you the story of things, but they're not doing it in an abrasive or hard sell type of a manner. They're just sharing their story and their life. And as a result, you get to know not only, what that piece of art or piece of artifact or whatever in their shop was all about, but how they came to get it. What's their story behind it? Why do they do the shop? What do they specialize in? And you just get into conversations like that without really even purposefully doing it. You just walk into it, and that's when you're in the presence of somebody with a like mind, and you automatically gravitate to those personalities. Mm-hmm. And that's really what branding is designed to help you do, is put that personality out front so that people can see it long before they need to see it, right? So for instance, what I say to people as we are coaching them and going through the branding process is you should never spend the first 15, 20 minutes with somebody explaining who you are, how many transactions you've done, if you sold any homes in their neighborhood, what your experience has been, all of this. They should already know that before that phone call and before you get to the meeting, for sure. Mm-hmm. That's when your brand must precede you. They should have already received information, whether it's a spotlight sheet that we create for our clients, or a video to introduce themselves, or whatever that is, to introduce their brand and what they stand for and how they can help their customers and who their ideal customers are. So they receive that, and then you can spend your valuable time one-on-one with your client, focusing on your client and their needs, and not so much about here's why you should choose me. They'll feel it the minute you get on the phone or walk in the room, as long as they've been exposed to what it is that sets you apart and a little bit of your story. And then you can expound upon it, of course, later in the conversation, but that is really what kind of pulls you in. So people all over the world have one thing in common. So I'll recap these for you real quick, and then we'll let you go and think about these things. So number one, sales is never a chase of desperation. Number two, if you think you made a decision to come into this program, or pretty much to make any major decision in your life, you didn't. It chose you. Number three, you don't want to forsake the blessings of today for the hope of tomorrow. Live the journey with the destination in mind. And four, people all over the world have one thing in common, and that's that they identify and connect with other people with the same dreams, hopes, and goals. And that's the lesson for today, guys. So I'm going to invite you really quick. If you haven't done so yet, please go join our Build Your Real Estate Brand Facebook group. You're going to find access and content in there that you won't find anywhere else. That is Build Your Real Estate Brand Facebook group. It's a closed group, but if you go ahead and hit the join button and request to join, we have people standing by to let you in. That particular group is for active real estate agents and brokers only, and we welcome you over there, and both places. Hang with us here too. So we'll let Michael close it out, but thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely, folks. So, not just a brand face, we live it every day because we believe in authenticity and we believe in prosperity. And so we that's our goal, is prosperity for everybody. But we're not just talking about money. It's not just about money. It's about the 360 of prosperity. It's about chasing abundant life. Like, that is what we preach and what we hope for everybody out there in the business world. And we know that prosperity favors the bold, folks. So we say here at BrandFace, be bold, especially with your brand. And of course, if you want to know what a brand is, or you need to discuss that with us, then join us. We'll be glad to share more information with you. And thank you, Ms. Tonya.
And thank you. And just as a last note, if you guys have anything you want to share about life lessons that maybe have taught you things about business or your own brand, share them with us in the comments below. And everybody have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you here next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.